Stream Queens Con 2. Yay! Woo! So many amazing creators, so many programs. I've been shook. It's been so beautiful. It's been so amazing.
This is my favorite time of year.
Absolutely. The holiday season, the Stream Queens Con season. It just gives me the chills. If we are talking about favorite scary movie, I think I like the first one. Yeah. No, the second one. The second one when Brenda just gets chased by the skeleton.
This is Bones.
You're so funny. You should have been on that comedy panel.
Alien.
Alien.
I'm a comedian, yes. But my favorite actual scary movie, even though it gets categorized as science fiction, Alien, 1979, by Ridley Scott, starring Sigourney Weaver. Absolutely amazing. Just forever my favorite.
Beautiful. I love that. Nikki?
Yes, hi. What was the question? Our favorite scary movie, right? And
yeah.
Also who we are. Well,
yes.
Hi, I'm Nikki Mirage. I'm mostly a variety horror streamer, and my favorite, I guess I'll answer like Eve. My favorite more recent scary movie would have to be The Conjuring, and then my favorite classic scary movie is definitely Alien. Like dear, I love the Alien franchise.
So good.
Beautiful. And Harming?
Hi, I'm Prince Harming, Twitch's resident drag king vampire, and I play a lot of horror games here on Twitch. And in terms of my favorite horror movies, I mean, I like a lot of horror. I watch mostly horror, so I'm gonna reach into my bag and choose an unknown favorite. I love Hello Mary Lou Prom Night 2. Anybody seen that one? The little-known sequel to Prom Night.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen Prom Night, though.
Yeah,
Jamie
It's
Lee.
a campy mess.
We love a campy mess.
We really do. And then finally, my name is Miss Diana Hall. As I said at the beginning, I am a drag content creator here on Twitch. Today, I am not in drag, but we're not going to talk about that. Don't look at me.
You look beautiful.
Wait, isn't that what this panel's about?
Anyway. And my favorite horror movie has got to be the classic Halloween. That one with
So
Jamie
good.
Lee Curtis.
Classic.
All right. So we have a few questions set up for y'all. And I hope y'all are ready and prepared. I hope you did your homework.
There was homework involved?
We had homework?
Is this school?
It's high school, girl. You know, it's scary. This is scary than any horror movie you could ever imagine. So, the very first question I want to ask y'all, and probably the best starting place, is what got you into the horror genre as a whole? We'll start in the same order we introduced. Let's start with Jaladasha.
I would say what got me into horror was, I'm gonna sound super morbid, but like the slashing and like the blood and everything, and like the sense of like fear of like being watched, like you said in Halloween, like looking over your shoulder, being watched, and having somebody stalk little old me. But I love like slasher films and stuff, and I really like getting into them, and I like I said, like the dark, mysterious aspect of whoever that killer might be.
Awesome. Eve?
What got me into horror media? I remember being a kid, and like walking by my TV and seeing Friday the 13th on. And I think it was number 5 or number 6. And just walking by and seeing Jason Voorhees just terrorize this campground. And as a child, I remember like running upstairs, but my upstairs lights were off, so it was like pitch black upstairs. So I was like in between two fears, and it was that whole like psychological fear of like, this is a TV, it's not real, but it's still scary. But then you're faced with like that real sense of fear, and it still brings out that same energy, you know. So the fear of it all, the mystery of it all, the camp of it all, just totally like got me instantly when I was a kid.
Yeah, definitely the fear of the dark. That. Oof.
Oh yeah, the unknown. You know.
Mhm. All right. Thank you so much, Eve. Nikki.
What got me into horror? I would say I don't know. So like, I guess just I blame my mom for putting on horror movies sometimes when I was a kid. Like she put Alien on and she put on like The Ring. And I'm like, I'm probably too young to be watching this, but that's kind of how I started watching it. And I guess I didn't really play scary games as a kid, but I played Diablo in first grade, so maybe that's scary. But just kind of like just kind of easing my way into it. So I guess watching horror movies, I'm like, oh, I want to watch a scary movie. And I'd say I'm more into horror now than I was back then. And I feel like what's gotten me into horror now and what would makes me more into it now is that I've been playing all these scary games on Twitch, and now I'm desensitized and can handle horror movies.
Yeah, honestly, seeing you, I've seen you grow. You went from being scared of just a little jump scare, so now it takes a lot to get you, girl.
Jump scares still get me sometimes, though. I'm not dear.
I've seen the TikToks.
Yes.
I was gonna say I'm so like envious of people who are just like, oh wow, a dead body. Where I'm like,
A dead body. Thanks.
Oh wow.
I played the mortuary's assistant, and I straight up screamed, and my neighbor knocked on the door. So,
Shut up.
the longest playthrough ever. Like that demo was so long. I'm so glad they gave us so much content. They gave us 3 hours of content.
Eve, please.
I finished that
Everyone
game in
told me
40
it's so
minutes.
long. Yeah, and I was like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, it's done. Yeah. Where is it? Give me more.
Yeah, I was like, when you said 3 hours, I was like, I did this in 20 minutes. What happened?
I'm scared.
Although I will say, when that lady appeared in that window, I knew it was over.
Oh, it was done.
It was over. Right. Dear,
Hey.
how you doing?
I'm doing very sexy, thank you. Let me take a sip. So, what got us into horror movies and horror in general? Well, ever since I was a little kid, like, my dad and my brother loved horror stuff. And so, like, we would do, like, my mom doesn't like it at all. My mom is like, I'll be in the other room. Like, we'd go to the movies and my mom would be like, I'm going to see, I don't know, The Color Purple. She just doesn't like horror and monsters and blood and guts and, you know, people screaming and running and just all this stuff. But I love it because I grew up around it. But when I was a little tiny kid, I would have nightmares all the time. I had to sort of like get to that desensitized point. But I just love it so much. It's just like that, the taboo-ness of it. Like you're not supposed to like look forward to it. Like you're supposed to be like, oh my gosh, terrified and scared. But I just think that it's so awesome to be in this world where monsters exist and all this wild stuff happens, especially when it's like campy, exaggerated, like Saw and stuff like that. Like when it's just like so above and beyond, like this isn't realism in any way. It's just so interesting and fascinating and cool.
Party.
party.
Well, actually, don't party. We all know what happens at parties in horror movies.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do not have sex. Do not have sex.
Do not
Yeah.
have sex.
The moment you see two people disappear by themselves for alone time, you know they're never coming back.
It's also the moment when you see boobs. When you see boobs, you know something's gonna happen.
It's that part.
I think Nikki's next.
No, Diana. I already answered it, but Diana, is your background the telephone pole from Hereditary?
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Do not drive a car.
Do not drive past me, please. This is a school zone, 15 miles an hour only.
Get those nuts away from my face.
That's tea.
Please.
Oh, I think I'm getting a phone call. Let me just go.
Sure.
Oh shit. So, Harming.
So, my family always hated horror. So, but I was always fascinated with it. I was a scaredy cat as a kid, though. Like everything terrified me. Um, but I was fascinated by horror. Like I would research, like in my school library, I read every book that was about ghosts, that was about UFOs, that was about the paranormal, and then I moved on to I read all the Goosebumps books. I think I've read every single one of them multiple times. And so like there was like the pipeline of horror from like children's horror. And I was always fascinated, like I always loved horror because like my birthday's around Halloween, and so I was always happy to have like a Halloween birthday. And
Costume party.
yeah, so like I think there's one thing that I really am fascinated with is I really love like everybody loves R-rated horror because it's the goriest, it's the most over the top, but I really enjoy how you can get away with doing like children and teen horror because you have to pull back in certain ways, but you still have to make it scary. So like I love good like children's teen horror because you have to work harder to make it scary. But yeah, like I took the entire pipeline from a kid growing up loving horror. My family hated it. They never wanted it around, but like I'd always sneak it in or like watch it on my own time. And I grew desensitized to it because I used to be terrified of it, but then it just became fun at some point. I don't know when that happened, but at some point I just started loving it and it didn't really scare me anymore, but I don't know. It can be so much. It can be campy, it can be scary, it can be weird.
Right.
Yeah.
To add on to what everybody else was saying about their first like movie that they remember. So my dad thought it was funny to torture me with Nightmare on Elm Street. So the scene when he comes out of the bed was the first scene that I ever saw of a horror movie, and I refused to sleep in bed for literally like a month. I think I was like 5 or 6.
Oh no.
With the blood, with like when they take Johnny Depp down.
Yes. I would look at my bed and be
That
like,
scene is so amazing
creative.
because literally all the objects are like glued onto like a surface, and it's filmed like upside down.
Yeah.
So when the
cool.
blood is pouring up, it's actually pouring down, but it's all with like, it's so amazing. It's absolutely so, and that's the great thing about horror is like the innovation of like that sense. You know, they have to put it in a tangible thing, a visual thing, and I feel like a lot of like horror directors are the ones who really innovate like how to make a movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's creative. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since a lot of them starting out, you have the tiniest budget and you have the wildest dreams. Limitations breed creativity, and we love to see it. Oh, Nikki?
I was gonna say, speaking of budget, literally one of my favorite, I guess, horror. It's a horror movie, but like people make fun of it. It's a bad. The series went downhill, but I adore the Paranormal Activity series,
yeah.
and all those movies are made with like $10,000. So
Yeah, the found footage, like all of that is literally like a camera, just like a camera right here on someone's face, just like walking around and stuff.
I don't know if y'all like old horror, but The Evil Dead, I love that one because that one,
yes.
like
That is
they
so
were on the thinnest lipped budget you've ever heard of,
Literally.
and you can tell in ways, but also it's just part of how interesting and fun it is. It's just like seeing like all the blood and guts and all just the wildness of it, as well as just like it was shot creatively too. It has all these interesting shots from like above and to the side and like all this different stuff. So I love when budget constraints cause creativity, like you said.
Yeah.
Hey,
And also
$20
too,
prior.
go ahead. Oh,
No.
with like the Friday the 13th series and the Nightmare on Elm, I was gonna say Nightmare Before Christmas, Nightmare on Elm Street. All of those movies had restrictions based off of who does the ratings?
The
NR,
Like the MPAA or whatever.
yeah, the
Yeah.
NPAA.
Is that for video games? But
It's
yeah, the
for
rating system.
The rating
Yeah.
system.
You're thinking
there was a
ESRB.
The
Oh,
MPAA is movies.
Yeah.
entire
think.
like organization that literally would target those two movies and be like, oh no, this is too much. Like you can't show this. And then because it was rated R, they would be like, we can't rate this. Like we can't. You won't be able to put this movie out if you don't change it. So they had to go through their movies and edit it in ways that fit their needs, but also be scary at the same time, and do that horror aspect. And the fact that they had to work around that and still maintain that the creativity and be true to like the storyline is also something that like a lot of horror movies have to deal with.
Yeah, I know for a fact, watching like behind the scenes footages of Evil Dead specifically, the director Sam Raimi was brought to trial in the UK, and it was considered a video nasty, and they were trying to get him arrested.
Wow. Just like with Cannibal Holocaust, how some people around the world thought that it was a real movie, and they had to go be like, "This is the woman that died on film.
Yeah,
As you can see, she's alive." But that's one that I haven't even seen. I don't know if any of y'all have seen that one. I couldn't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm terrified to watch that.
Oh
one.
my god.
No.
that is.
It's not a fun watch. I'll say that.
I-
It's not a
yeah,
fun
I don't think I
movie.
watched
that one.
That's one of the only ones that I'm like, no, I've avoided that one on purpose because
Wait,
of
what
the
is it
animal
called?
cruelty.
Yeah,
Cannibal Holocaust. So it's like from the 80s or the 70s, but it's very noteworthy for being one of the most goriest and
It was also one of the first like
torturous
found footage.
yeah, it's a found
movies.
footage film, and it's very murderous and torturous. Poorly depicts native people from around the world, and it has actual, like, all the human cruelty is faked, but there is actual animal cruelty, like beheading and murdering so many endless amounts of animals within the movie.
And they do
And so
put people
I've
in some
avoided
actual
it.
really unsafe situations too.
Yeah.
Danger.
yeah. That's honestly,
Infamous.
it is
I don't
very,
recommend.
yeah. And honestly, with that, I kind of want to piggyback to something that Harming said that I'm gonna also use as my kind of example of my first introduction to horror. My first introduction to horror was on the Cartoon Network with Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Mhm.
How cute!
That is the scariest but most campiest little show you've ever
Return
seen.
the slab!
Yeah,
Return the slab!
or suffer my tits. I mean, curse.
The man in gauze, the man in gauze.
Ramsey. Yeah, that one.
You can have a whole panel about like your favorite, scariest episodes of Courage the Cowardly
Yeah.
Dog.
Honestly, it's such an iconic show. I remember my favorite episode is the one with Bunny.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
With the
yes.
lesbian
the
cat.
and the,
What,
and
the cats?
bunny.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That one was like watching them do like this whole like Thelma and Louise with Courage helping out.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that was. Oh, sorry. Go.
I was gonna say one of the scariest episodes of Courage for me was with the zombie directors. I hated
Yeah.
that.
Oh
As a
my
kid.
God.
Quentin Tarantella.
Yeah.
I like the one with the
It's Dr. Gerbils world.
what is the one where
It's Dr. Gerbils world.
naughty.
Oh,
that's one of the
Freaky
last
Fred.
episodes.
Freaky Fred.
Freaky
Yeah,
Fred,
Freaky Fred, where he wants to shave everybody.
Oh, that one.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the one that's also really terrifying to me is the one where they have to like grow a little plant and they have a realistic human like old man's face as like this ghost and it's
That's-
constantly telling Eustace you're useless.
Yes. Oh,
And
I
they're-
haven't seen that one.
Oh, it is that one's real scary because they're locked in their basement, they're being cooked alive, and Eustace is like, I can grow a plant, and the plant's dead right next to him. He's
They
like,
really had no business making that show and putting it on Cartoon Network.
they really did
But at the
it.
same time, I'm glad they did.
It was fun.
Right, right.
I always look forward to that one.
Honestly, that one, Courage walked so Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy could run.
Mm-hmm.
Grim isn't even as scary though. Grim's just camp.
It's
It's
very
just
camp.
cutesy.
It does have its moments. The earlier seasons did have its moments trying to be Courage, but it did find its footing more in comedy.
Mhm.
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 Because let me tell you, watching a kid's skin get ripped off was definitely not an everyday occurrence.
It's not something you watched on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I kind of want to segue into this as well. Just because we have all these different representations from early childhood with Courage with the bunnies, with the bunny lesbians, to more modern day examples like Fear Street. Uh,
Hmm.
how do you all feel about LGBT representation in horror media throughout the years?
It's so difficult because as somebody that just lives and breathes and loves horror, I've always had this weird relationship with it as a queer person because while you would find a lot of representation of queer people in horror movie as opposed to other types of movies, usually it's not done in a positive light. We're either monsters or we're victims. We're either, one of the first ones to die or we are the ones killing and it's because we're freaks. But at the same time, it was the only time you would see people like us in a movie, in a big movie. So it's like it has that's like good in some ways, but also bad in a lot of other ways because it's not showing positive
Hmm.
like representations of our, people like us to the world.
One of the most acclaimed directors, Alfred Hitchcock,
Hmm.
um, he used the trans community um, as the killers for his films, which then made this spiral of the cliche of making people under the trans umbrella the killers in films, which one film in particular, Sleepover Camp, or
Sleepaway.
Sleepaway Camp,
Hmm.
which we all know about Sleepaway Camp and the ending. So, you know, it has effect, and especially when like it starts early on and there's so many like stigmas, and back in his day, they all believed what they wanted to believe, and to this day we are still trying to portray LGBTQIA plus individuals in a positive light in horror.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
If I could just have you, just for those who might not know, if you could explain the ending of Sleepaway Camp, just for those who might not know.
Yeah.
Spoiler warning if you want to watch it, but
It is from
Eve-
30 years ago,
It's
so
from
Yeah.
you've
30
had
years
plenty of
ago.
time.
that part,
So basically, this the killer at the end of the movie, you find out that the aunt has been dressing up. Is it her son or
It's
her
the nephew. Yeah.
Nephew,
It's
yeah.
Angela. The character's named Angela.
Angela, dressing up Angela, her nephew, as a girl because she lost her daughter in a boating accident?
That's
Well, she
actually
always
Angela's
she always
story.
wanted a daughter.
Angela's story.
So yeah, I forget her name. She's so weird. She's like my favorite person in the world. But the nephew and the
Aunt
niece,
Martha,
the
sorry.
twins. Yes.
Aunt Martha?
Really? She speaks like, really, that won't do. It just won't.
Yeah.
But the niece and the nephew are in a boating accident where the dad dies, and then they're adopted by the aunt. But Angela had died, so she dresses up the nephew as Angela and forces the nephew to be Angela essentially. And so the murders are acting out from Angela, not
Mhm.
being like after being forced to be someone else, like just the trauma of all that.
Yeah. And I know there's been a lot of controversy specifically around that movie, like Eve said, because of how it represents trans people. It was a very different time, but when you look at it in a modern lens, it's like, should we still be celebrating a movie like this? That while yes, it is a campy classic, it is very harmful to those in the trans community and even in just LGBT community to portray uh like this character who was forcibly trans and depicting them as this crazed killer.
Yeah. Can I talk on that?
Yes, go ahead.
So I love that movie. But I definitely recognize how it's harmful to the trans community and other people like that. But I also watch it and love it as a queer person who loves trans people, loves queer people in general. And so that movie is special to me because it had the really campy aunt. It has a killer that is completely different than you've ever seen before, and also the whole entire movie is just fan service of men wearing short shorts and crop tops and all this stuff. So it's just like it subverts every expectation you could ever have about any movie. So like I'm really passionate about it because it's just like no movie like this exists and has ever existed. It's just like all the women dress conservatively and all the men are dressed like very provocatively, and you look at any other movie and it's the opposite. So it's just like very it's just like a wild ride.
Yeah.
But that's just my view. But I understand how it's hurtful. But I think that a lot of horror can be hurtful.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's how it pushes boundaries, is being offensive.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that I condone it. It's just like, you know, the movie exists and I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah. I feel that same way with, especially with a few different movies like Friday, not Friday 2, Nightmare 2,
Freddy's Revenge.
Freddy's Revenge, the very, as the main characters commonly referred to as the first male Scream Queen,
or Final Girl,
or the Final Girl.
So good.
That and A New Blood, also having many queer actors in it. You know, a lot of these queer actors during this time, you know, it was I've seen interviews and there's different documentaries where they talk about like a lot of horror movies it's an escape for queer people and for them to be able to express themselves in this over the top way that they normally can't. I mean, especially you see in Nightmare 2, it's just over the top. It's very suggestive in the homosexual way. And I feel like, and this is where I'm going to pose a question to everybody as well again, is what do you think makes us as queer people resonate with horror media like this so much?
There's so many aspects that come to it. Like as an adult looking at horror, you know, there is some sort of relatability and some sort of character in that movie for me. One of the ones that while I was doing research for the panel, one of the things that came up, and like for example, King Kong, it came out in 1931.
Fay Ray.
So at that time, King Kong, we would see King Kong as like not really horror-esque, kind of more of like sci-fi, more sci-fi, leaning
It's a monster
sci-fi
movie, yeah.
Monster, yeah. But at the time, it was a horror movie.
Yeah.
But King Kong was like captured, like ostracized. You know, there's crowds of people that hated this monster who was just misunderstood in the end, you know? So it was kind of like, there's that relatability of, you know, as a queer person being misunderstood, which is, you know, very relatable to me. And then, of course, the campiness of it, like the over the top and just seeing these icons, especially when it's, you know, led by, you know, a woman, is so powerful. There's something so powerful about that, you know, think of all the movies. There's like, you know, Jason, where Jason's killing everybody. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a police officer and serve and protect. You're still being murdered by Jason. And then seeing the final girl make it out alive. And that right there is like the strongest like depiction of like strength, you know? So that definitely had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I think definitely the camp aspect is key I mean, camp and queerness just go hand in hand, or like we're just attracted to it. But then on the other hand, like, yeah, the whole aspect of horror often depicting outsiders as main characters and heavily featuring them, whether it's the killer or the monster being an outsider and we can sort of relate to them in some way, or a lot of the characters that we follow tend to be outsiders, black sheep, and they're like tend to be really strong. And I think all those have a lot to do with it.
And think of like, for
Absolutely.
example, vampires. Like vampires need to be hidden away and they need to hide and no one can find out that they're a vampire. Like that is relatable to a lot of queer people.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I would
You go. You
No,
go.
go
I've
ahead.
already talked.
I was also gonna say Jason Voorhees is like a good example of like kind of what we resonate with, because when he was alive, or however he's depicted, as a child he was bullied and by all of the camp members, and his mother wasn't that great, which I mean that's not the case for everybody, but I feel like that's something else to resonate with, and with again like what you said, the bullying and like the teasing and all of that nasty stuff is kind of like a lot of these killers experience that growing up in their movies. Like Michael wasn't really normal to everybody, so he grew up to do what he does. The same thing with Leatherface. He grew up as the black sheep of the family. So it was like it's a constant line of like being teased and bullied with, I feel like a lot of queer people go through when they're younger. Not everybody, but most. I did at least. So it kind of like you resonate with that. And you agree with that to a sense.
Yes. I want to say that it's sort of the to me what makes me resonate with horror film especially is like there's always, well, not always, but there's commonly like a quality of like the demonization of sexuality, which I think makes compelling, like it's a compelling thing to watch. Is like, oh my gosh, the ones that have sex, they're the ones that die. But like there's also a message there of the demonization of sexuality in general. And all of our lives, there's someone telling us like, God hates cigarettes. You should fall into the norm. You shouldn't like people of the same sex, or like change your gender, or be who you are and be authentic to yourself. You should conform. And there's that message hammered into you. However, I like that's one aspect, but it's also a lot of these films include a like meeker feminine person that's trampled over and walked all over, and then they get strong and they have a transformation, and then they beat up their baddie and they persevere and they get over it, and now they blossom and there's this new person that can take on the world. Not speaking about the sequels where that character dies first, but talking about the one where they triumph has always spoken to me as like, my grandparents would say, don't be feminine, you can't have a Barbie for Christmas, you can have a truck. And it's like this person that's an outsider, like all of you mentioned, is the one that triumphs in the end. And I think that there's a message that resonated with me there as well.
And honestly, to kind of piggyback off the comment about sexuality, everybody knows the Hellraiser films.
Yep.
That whole series, Clive Barker was a gay man. Well, is. Yes. I said that
He's
like
not dead.
He's still here.
He's not dead. But the whole film as it is a representation of just like the more dirty aspects of human life and sexuality. I mean, you see it with how they take each other's like in spoiler again, but if you haven't seen it, go watch it.
It's been out for a while.
30 years.
It's been out for a while. When they're in the attic, and I forgot his name. The brother is Frank. When Frank is being fed these men that are being seduced by Julia,
Favorite.
like that right there is already a massive taboo. That's a married woman who's having an affair with someone and then being an accessory to murder. And it's just this like perfect blend of body horror that you see of just melting in reverse as Frank reforms, and it's just the Cenobites themselves are all like different like taboos. You have Chatterer, you have Butterball, I believe is his name. Um like they all represent different aspects of like hell, and what usually is very what we're going to be told, this is where you're going to go if you don't act in this certain line. But it's all like these very highly like fetishized BDSM characters.
Yeah, the girl is named Deep Throat, but then they cut it and she's just the female.
The
Yeah,
female
the female
Cenobite.
Cenobite.
Well, I think she does have a name. I think
She doesn't in the
honest-
first movie.
Yeah,
no,
the
but I
first
want to
movie-
say they gave her the name Deep Throat. Honestly, like I think they gave her the name Deep Throat.
I think that was her name, and then they took it away, but maybe they
Yeah,
reinstated
as
it.
far as I know, isn't she just female Cenobite?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Like
The-
officially.
Yeah.
Yeah, officially.
Well,
Yeah,
Pinhead
we-
was also Hell Priest.
Yeah,
officially.
they didn't receive those monikers until at least I believe it's the second or third movie that they're referred to as Pinhead, and even then, the female Cenobite disappears and
Mhm.
becomes I believe it's Angelique.
That's a different character.
It's
But I
another
love
Yeah.
her. She's so gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, Angelique's like Cenobite design is it's fierce.
It's such a bad movie, but such a good design.
You know what
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
has? Wait, which side? Beauty mark.
Yep,
She
got
has
her
a beauty mark.
It's all about
Mhm.
the beauty.
But, like, I want to take it way back, and something that I am pretty knowledgeable about, and that applies to me because I look it up a lot, is the whole origin of the vampire. Because like one of the original horror movies revolves around vampires, and vampires were based on like the original Dracula was based off of a bisexual aristocrat man, and
Yeah.
it was written to kind of demonize him and put him in a bad light. But as you can see, as the media took on its own life, and it just became vampires in general, they kind of like vampires still today. If you look at them, they have all the attributes that people have misconceptions about bisexual people, about being very promiscuous, about being amoral, about killing people.
Drinking
Um,
blood.
Yeah. Some things are true, but yeah, the vampire myth is steeped in biphobia, but at the same time that they're showing how evil and terrifying bisexual people are, they're also showing how cool and sexy they are. And so we have all these depictions in older movies, before the slashers and before all that, of, sexy dudes necking straight men. And it's like very erotic the way they shoot it. They don't always shoot it terrifyingly. Like it's shown as like intimate. So it's like, since the dawn of cinema with horror movie monsters, like there's always been that tie back to queer people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that intimateness, like you said, just between so many different people. So it inherently has that, which is
Mhm.
cool.
There was
So like, that's the only time you could see a dude basically making out and giving like two dudes giving each other hickeys on cinema screens.
That's one hell of a hickey, let me tell you. Jeez,
Oh,
that
yeah.
one's gonna last for a long time.
What were you gonna say, Eve? Oh, yeah,
1872,
you're
there
talking.
was a novella that was written. It was a erotic metaphor of vampirism, and it's called, I think, like Carmelia, which strongly and explicitly portrayed the main vampire as a lesbian. And
Oh yeah,
from
Dracula's daughter, Carmilla.
from that portrayal alone in that novella came that whole like hiding in the shadows. You gotta like you can't tell everybody who you are. The secretiveness and of being like a vampire, which is as growing up, we had to mute ourselves to kind of like hide ourselves, so we couldn't show who we really are, which is like, again, I love vampires too, Prince Army. So, because like a lot of the times people are just like, oh, vampires bite me. And it's like, there's so much more that comes with like stories and movies about vampires.
It's all the subtext. It's all there, just barely under the surface.
Honestly, vampires, let me tell you, they're not like the Twilight vampires, Mr. Edward Cullen.
I like Vampire Hunter D.
Oh,
It's an anime from the 80s. It's sexy.
You like you have an anime you like?
I was like, wow.
It's a horror anime from the
Okay.
80s. Of course I love it. It's
You know,
sexy. He's brooding, he's angsty. He has long hair.
My biggest complaint about Twilight is just the fact that this is what happens when you suck all the LGBTQIA plus out of vampires. You just get a long-winded marriage story. It's just like, ugh.
But they sparkle.
That doesn't even bother me that much.
I have a
Everything
I mean,
else.
they're serving us drag in the sun with their
So
highlighter.
true. So true.
It's giving pheromone, honestly.
I have a
They're
question
filled.
for everybody. What is a quote from a horror movie that you remember the most?
Can I go?
Run, bitch, run! No, okay.
Get away from her, you bitch! Aliens.
Oh, yes.
Aliens.
Yeah.
although it's
That
although it's
scene-
sci-fi, but that's horror. They're
It's
scared.
horror.
They're
Yeah.
terrified.
Oh,
We're triumphing. Final girls. Yada yada.
Literally, though, anybody that says the Alien franchise is not any way, shape, or form horror is
What?
a liar.
argue after the first one, it gets more actiony, but
But still, it's got the elements. It's got
Yeah.
the elements there.
My
You wanted to
favorite
say something?
is what are you waiting for, huh?
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
Fuck you.
I'm right here. Come and get me.
I would say mine is Cindy, the TV's leaking. No.
Oh my god.
I would. It's a little too risque, but I would have to say anything that from the Exorcist movie that she said right before that she spits up the green pea soup everywhere, and when she takes the crucifix and does her thing with it, screaming "fuck me." That's something that has like always stuck with me.
Mhm.
Which kind of like, this is gonna sound so weird, but like I get my risque stuff and my drag persona from like a lot of like stuff like that in horror media,
Mm-hmm.
like the dirty aspect of it and like the raunchiness.
Yeah, and honestly, like that, and actually, it's a good thing you said that because drag in it is of itself is it can be very pageant-y, or it can also be very dirty and raunchy. I mean, drag is not just what you see on a certain TV show with a fracker.
You spilled.
I mean, you saw it in the other day on a panel Deer hosted with Yoska, Hungxiety, like
And Arseniki.
and Arseniki. Like, there's so many examples of drag that's not just beautiful drag. Like, drag is everything. And honestly, I see a lot of examples of drag taking from horror media. Like Ladasha, like you have your inspirations. Harming's inspirations are vampires. I know Mr. Star also takes very heavily inspirations from vampires as well, just to name a few people on the team. Like, and then you have an amazing show that it just showcases horror drag like that.
Right.
I mean, we've all seen Victoria Elizabeth Black walk out as a pregnant alien. That
Yeah.
is like,
Sexy.
that is the sexiest alien, and let me tell you, Miss Queen Xenomorph comes real close for being top sexy alien.
It's true.
It's like during a show, it could be 2 days before Christmas. I will pour blood all over myself like Carrie and throw myself off a stage. Like, that's like, I love the horror aspect that you can throw into your artistry and your performances.
Yeah.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
That is
That's
my
such an
friend.
iconic line.
Love it.
I love.
Tell me
Um,
something. What kind of gamer word in a Christmas sweater?
Woo!
And that's a wrap.
Alrighty, everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming to the second
Oh
and
my
last
God.
stream week.
All right. Honestly, thinking about it, my favorite quote is probably going to be, if I had to say one, it's to be, "You open the box, and I can't." No.
You open the box.
Have you seen Hellraiser 2?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So when Kirsty and Julia have like a confrontation in like the house
Ugh.
where she was like resurrected, and she's like, "Come on, Snow White, give me your best shot." Like it's just so campy and wild because she's like reading her for filth for being a good girl, and she's talking about how she's the evil queen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just
What about me?
It's so
the
good.
best.
And honestly, thinking about that movie with how that ends, oof, with how Christy just ends that man, that nasty old doctor.
Mhm.
That's a queen. But okay, just to circle back to the question that Eve posed, I think my favorite horror movie quote is definitely gonna be from Dream Warriors. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
That's really good.
And I can't remember her name, but she has like the best scream. She closes her eyes and she's just and then
And she's just dead.
horror
Oh.
movie screams. I mean, that is just
Ugh.
the best sound to my
It
ears.
really is.
You know,
Let's all do our best horror movie scream.
My
no,
my
it's
voice doesn't
too
go
late.
high enough. I'm gonna need a dub.
I'll dub for you.
Go
Ready?
up.
3.
Her voice suppression kicked in.
Yeah. It's the filter.
If it wasn't this late and I didn't live in an apartment complex,
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Right, I yelled during a video game and my neighbor was like, "Are you guys okay? Do you need anything?" And I walk out like this. I'm fine. I'm sorry.
Honestly, if I was gonna be in a horror movie, I want my scream to be "It's me, Holly's scream." That's the scream that I want.
That is music to my ears.
Yes.
We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. Not a good impression. Find the clip.
So can I get a mod to look up that clip and post it in the chat? For
Oh my
me? Thank
God.
you.
It's on TikTok. It's on TikTok.
Mm.
I want to kind of also ask, what's y'all's favorite horror character? Final girl, favorite villain, just across the board. What's y'all's favorite?
Definitely Ripley.
Mm.
Just Ripley. But I just like every
Oh.
final girl. So like Alice also in Friday the 13th, or Heather in
In Heather's.
Nightmare on Elm Street. In Heather's, yes. No, I like Veronica in that one.
Mine's easy. I didn't even know why I thought this would be difficult. Elvira. Elvira's my favorite all time, hands down. There
Beautiful.
is no competition. Elvira is my absolute icon in horror.
See, I don't.
In case it wasn't obvious. It's not like I model myself or anything.
See, I don't care for the final girls. They all can go. Daddy Ghostface and Daddy Pennywise all the way.
Give me the
Oh.
killers.
Give me
Ladasha
the
said,
killers.
kill me.
Literally.
Just take me. I'm ready. Just take me. I am yours. I am fully committed to you now.
I guess modern, I really do enjoy Ed and Lorraine Warren, but in terms of classic, I guess as final girl, Laurie Strode, and then villain, I just like Michael Myers. I like the Halloween franchise a lot.
Yeah.
Mine would be most recent horror killer, Gabriel from Malignant. Just
So cool.
how they changed it up. Like is just his movements, everything is just so, it's so not like we're not used to seeing that. So seeing how he was moving through that movie, literally I was just like, what is happening? I have no idea what's going on. This is absolutely fuck. But final girl, Nev Campbell. 100% Nev Campbell.
Sydney Prescott.
Sydney
Stay.
Prescott.
Thank you very
Wait.
much.
Well, I did just think of another fierce. Oh, sorry.
I want to say another one too, but you go, Nikki.
I was gonna say another fierce horror icon. I don't know, Samara from the Ring series, just crawling out
Hair.
of her
Oh
teeth.
yeah.
Hair. Hairography. Period.
With her wet
So-
human hair.
Yes, with her wet
you
human hair.
get into that wet
It's
hair
human.
lately, Nikki. You're all about the wet hair.
It's fashion. It's girly. I want to say, so queerness and horror, and I know that this can be a little bit contentious as horror, but like we were talking about Courage the Cowardly Dog, I mean, and Elvira, it's not horror, but it's horror adjacent. It has all those elements to
I
it.
think I know
So-
what you're gonna say.
So in Gremlins 2, Greta
I
Gremlin, how
was gonna say it's female gremlin.
I mean
Gremlin?
she's like, if you watch the movie, she's
everything.
accepted. She's put on a stage by the other gremlins. They're clapping for her. How easy
They
did she
love
change her
her.
gender
They
with
celebrate
a motion?
her.
Like, that is just amazing, and that's queer rights. And I just think she's so beautiful and glamorous. To me, as a little child, I loved all these different things, but like my favorite things in the world, Miss Piggy and the female gremlin. Like, I would just watch movies and just literally fast forward them, rewind them. Fast forward them, rewind them, just over and over and over. And Jabba's palace in Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, because I just love puppets, I guess. But I just think that so
Everybody
iconic.
loves
Gremlins
puppets.
2, the new badge, Greta Gremlin, boom.
Mhm.
I thought
We
you were
love it.
going to say salad fingers.
Oh, I do love salad fingers.
You know,
It's the nettle, yeah.
We gotta have a whole other discussion about just internet generated horror. Ugh.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
We can't even start that. We can't start that.
that's
a whole nother panel.
Another discussion.
It
Yeah.
is.
I want to piggyback off something Deer said, and I'm gonna do. This is our last question before we go into a Q&A for a little bit. So what would you all say is like your favorite examples of non-horror, like, you know, Courage, Elvira, the Gremlins, that also feature some, you know, some LGBT characters in it, you know. There's one that stands up in my mind pretty obvious, and I'm gonna say Scooby-Doo.
Because I still just count that as horror. Like,
Well,
it still falls under the umbrella for me. I still count it as horror.
the scariest thing Scooby-Doo ever did was Zombie Island and Witch's Ghost. Everything else is kind of like just camp. But
Because that's the one where the zombies were real, right?
yeah,
yeah.
Mhm. And this time, the zombies
Usually it's
are
just
real.
a guy in a mask.
Mhm. Those were
And
dead.
it had that song, remember? The ghost, it's a fake. When they're doing the whole montage, when they're like trying to find real
Right.
supernatural stuff,
Oh,
and they keep
at
finding
the
people in
beginning.
masks. I want to listen to that song now. I want to do a lip sync to it.
You should.
One of my favorites, and it has to do with New Blood. I was watching Kill Count.
Oh, love
Oh,
Kill
'Cause that's, like,
Count.
Shout
one of
out
my
James
favorite
and Denise.
things. Yeah, it's one of my favorite things.
James A.
to watch.
Denise, return my letters. I'm just kidding.
And he was talking and having a discussion about how in New Blood of Friday the 13th, because the director and the crew made the set so comfortable and so welcoming and warm and loving, there were a lot of, you know, I think there was like one openly queer actor in that series, in that movie, but a lot of them found friendship with all of these people, and with that it made them more comfortable, and later on came out, and that's why they call New Blood the gay Jason movie, because there was a lot of queer people, whether they were out or not, that were in that movie and helped make that movie.
Dear Ladasha.
Um, I don't know. I feel like we've named so many like horror things that aren't actually like scary, but like they resonate with us. So like Courage and Elvira and Gremlins and like I can't like. If I had more time, I guess I would think of something else to bring up. But like I love everything horror, so it's like this giant pool of things to like pull ideas from. But I guess
Buffy's a
like
great
if we can say
example.
video games, I love
video games work too.
Darkstalkers. So Darkstalkers is the game that Morrigan comes from Marvel vs. Capcom. So she's all
Yeah.
sexy, she's got bat wings, and it's like not scary, but it has all these horror elements. Like there's like a Bigfoot, there's like a Black Lagoon guy. Like it's all references to horror things with like a Street Fighter silly kind of anime twist vibe. And so it's really fun and colorful, but it has all those references that you pick up if you're a horror fan. And I love it. I'm just obsessed with it. Cuckoo. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Right.
Yeah,
no, I
Capcom.
agree.
Beautiful. I'm still waiting for that Illbleed remake. Where's Rachel? Our gas guzzling worm.
Give me that gasoline, honey.
Okay.
You're not Jimmy.
Let's go back to hell.
Dada. It's just Rachel. It's the funniest thing I've ever
Good.
seen in my
It's
life.
So good. Nikki,
I'm gonna
play
buy a
Illbleed. What we can
chainsaw.
make it happen.
What's
Let's do
ill?
that.
Okay, I can look into it.
Oh, you should. Oh, that's gonna be. Oh, that's camp.
I'm starting to move on from my action horror games into actually scary games now, where I don't have a gun.
Yes.
It's a lot.
That's wild.
When I
Yeah.
played
It's
Outlast,
wild.
so I was like, "Where's my gun? I don't have a gun. I just have a webcam. Well, it's a computer, not a webcam.
One girl, one webcam.
That's one girl, one cam. That's me. That was me playing Outlast. Outlast is also a very fucked up game.
That's something that I
Oh,
want
yeah.
to play. It's been sitting in my cart for like 2 months now.
Let it set.
Yeah, let us say that game is scary.
I like
Talk about problematic queer tropes in horror.
Oh,
Outlast
actually-
has got a couple.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
DLC?
oh, the DLC, which, but I also thought the DLC was better written than the main game. But it's still,
It at least has perspective. It has creativity. I mean,
Yeah.
I like all of Outlast. I'm not saying that any of it is not creative, but the DLC was more fun.
I thought Whistleblower was a better game than the base game, yeah. But it definitely had that moment that was kind of.
It's very interesting to see. But I mean, and then we have Outlast 2.
Who?
Yeah.
The Last of Us 2, is that what you said?
Oh no, I said
Outlast?
Outlast 2.
Oh,
But
Outlast 2.
The Last
Oh,
of
yeah.
Us 2. I mean, you have lesbian representation,
Lesbian rights, love a lesbian.
literally, and as main characters. That's not often you see. Usually, queer characters in video games get written off to the side. That's why whenever video games usually have romanceable options, I've always hated it when I couldn't choose for my character to be queer in a video game. And if I have to like cheat the system in a way just to get what I see for this character as I play it through myself, like, come on. That's why I applaud Mass Effect for having at least that option. Fallout 4, you have the options to literally romance literally anything except for the dog. Thank God.
And you
sorry,
applaud
furries.
Mass Effect 3, right?
That's
not the first
after they
two where
Force you to
can't be-
have a heterosexual spouse and a baby, though.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I only played 3. Don't at me. Mass Effect fans, do not attack me.
I haven't played them, but Chad's played them, and he was like, I wasn't gonna date a woman. And then in the third one, if you hadn't dated a woman yet, you can date Kaiden, I think is his name.
I think, yeah.
But
But
hold out for your queer rights.
literally, just wait 3 whole games, a whole whopping however many hours. But that actually is gonna go ahead and segue into our first Q&A question. We love a segue. Segways. We're gonna sing the segue song as we segue into this question. So this question is going to be coming from Hey Shadow, and Hey Shadow asks,
Ew.
Next. Flop the next.
no. Do horror video games scratch the same itch as horror movies? Do you prefer one medium over the other?
I think it's not the same itch, but it's similar because for me, it was like taking that extra step. I can watch just about any horror and it doesn't scare me. You can gross me out, but you can't scare me so much with movies anymore. But with games, if they do it right, they can still make me feel tense. They can give me that thrill that I don't really get from movies anymore. So I would say it's similar but different.
Yeah, because like I don't get jump scares in movies anymore, but some of the games, like you said, harming that tenseness and that like butterfly in your stomach on what's gonna come around the corner, then you turn the corner and something pops out. I mean, unless you're a deer, you don't get scared, but you know, me, I scream.
I was gonna say actually that it's to both of you, I'm the opposite. So with movies, I get more creeped out and more anxious and on the edge of my seat because a movie to me is happening to me. Like I'm sitting there and these characters, like I can't help these people. I might be the like that person like, oh my gosh, don't go in there. You know better. Come on, don't do it. And in a video game, I'm playing as that character. So when they take a step, it's because I chose for them to take a step. So I feel in control, even when I can't control the monsters coming at me or the people like, hurting me. I feel like I'm ready for it. Whereas a movie, I'm just like,
See, it's so weird because that's like the opposite for me. Because like the reason why, if something happens in a video game cutscene or if I'm watching a movie, I'm not as tense because I'm like, this is out of my hands. Like I can't do anything to affect this. But when I'm playing a game and it like happens while I'm controlling my character, it feels more like it's happening to me.
If you think of the perspective, like if I hadn't walked over there, that would have never happened. Like that's like my mindset is like I'm the catalyst to this happening. So like I can take on that responsibility, but I'm not responsible for these people. I can't help them. Hello, don't do it.
Yeah, because then again, in the video game, you kind of expect that jump scare to come around when it starts to get real dark and eerie. And then sometimes in movies, they get you, and it's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that.
Although I guess in movies, if you're scared, you can close your eyes. But if you're in a video game, you can't do that because you still have to move the game forward.
It's true.
So
I would say for me, like, horror video games are so much more terrifying to me. I can watch any scary movie and be fine.
I saw you play Mortuary Assistant.
I've seen you play Alien.
But horror games,
7-hour Mortuary Assistant demo playthrough.
But like for horror games, it's very much like, I am this person. I am controlling this person, and the actions that I do with this person could have repercussions in the long run. And on top of that, I have full control. I have full control of everything, where I'm looking, where I can see, all that I have control of. And one of my favorite things in like horror video games is scripted moments, because they take that control away from me. And when when I don't have that anymore, I'm just like, I don't want to play this. I'm too terrified because now I'm being forced to see the thing that I don't want to see, or do the thing I don't want to do, and it's fucked. Like Alien, for example, like there's so many scripted moments in Alien, but also you have a very intelligent AI system that is, basically poking fun at you and will come around and be a menace. Because again, I was talking with Nikki about this, the menace meter that the Alien has, where its goal is not to kill you, its goal is to stress you out. And
the game just goes like, "Hey, bestie,
yeah,
you're getting really
I guess
comfortable,
there's
aren't
two
you?"
AIs in that game. The one is the alien. The one is the game that the AI that knows exactly where you are. That one's goal is to stress you out. The alien's AI is just plopped in your area, and then that one's goal is to kill you.
Yeah. And another question, since we're on the topic of video games, this question comes from Donut Tart. what tropes do you hate in horror games / movies? So this one's a little bit more broad, but let's see. What do you all hate?
I guess I hate when there isn't like a fantasy to it. Like there isn't like a flair to it. It's not like I like it when horror is creative. That's why I love 80s as my favorite like chunk of time in horror, because I feel like it set the standard of like be creative, think outside the box, be interesting, make it compelling, make it fascinating, make people want to see more, shock people. I was just talking about it the other day. I don't like Hostel because I just feel like
Ugh.
there is
Yeah.
there is a compellingness to it. Like look at how horrible the human race is, but like it just at the base level it's just like torture, and I like it more when there's some sort of other thing to
Yeah.
it rather than just this person is mean. Like I mean, there's a way to be mean and torture someone. Like you can watch Halloween or Scream, and these killers have more to them, and they have more
Yeah.
motives than just
Mhm.
oh, I'm stressed, let me just
It
drill
feels so
a girl's eye off.
impersonal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's no personality behind the killing. It's just dry, kind of. It's just dry and frank about it instead of like I like some of my favorite horror movies are very gory and have very, very graphic gore. But they still have something else going on in the mix, that it's not just like throwing guts at you all the time or just trying to make you feel squeamish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I agree. Like that's if I have to put my finger on anything in horror that I don't like, it's like if you just show me a gore fest, like if you just show me something that's just trying to make me feel grossed out, I just get bored and I don't want to watch it. I'm not entertained by it.
I
Yeah, that
definitely-
kind of goes to the movie like that. The Human Centipede movie, like that's just.
Ooh. Yeah,
I-
that's
I thought that one was more interesting because it's at least not just like, oh, let's just cut
It's
up a person
novel.
or destroy a person. It's like there like this doctor has like this fantasy of creating a new creature which is made of humans. Like I thought that was at least more interesting.
It's gross, but it's
Hostile.
campy still.
I
Yeah.
will
I
say,
grew up watching it, so I say no.
I get it though. It is disgusting.
Yeah.
I guess my favorite kind of horror media is for horror movies is I like horror movies that can make me scared by genuinely just being scary and aren't relying on cheap jump scares and aren't relying on excessive gore. And not many can do that. And the cheap jump scares and the gore can be really fun for certain moods, but I just like my favorite ones are always the ones that are scary just because they're scary. And they
Yeah.
build up that like tense atmosphere, and it's just dread, and I just like that more in terms of entertainment.
yeah, we all know the movie that just tries to get the cheap scare
yeah.
compared to something scary, like that scene in Halloween, for example. Laurie Strode's leaning against the door, and then the camera shifts ever so slightly, and you see Michael Myers just standing there staring at her. That's a good jump scare. That is done well.
I will say with Hostel, I want to talk about this because I think like the story behind it, like the thing that is supposed to make you like, oh, is that the capabilities of what humans can do to other humans. And that's the portion where I'm like, where it's like, you know, it scares me, where it's like, you know, we're watching these average people just drill eyeballs and cut off fingers one by one. Like that is horrifying that people are able to are comfortable with that.
Yeah.
That, you know, I can't even hit a fly away. Like, you know, I don't want to harm, you know, but like there's people out there that are able to do that, you know?
Yeah. As a contrast, I would say like there are two things where it shows the human race as destructive towards itself, and you have the Hostel, and then you have the Saw. Like the Saw, I think has fantasy as well as horror.
Yeah.
And so I prefer it because it's like it is a it's supposed to be like an insight on like how cruel people can be to each other. Like I want to play a game, I'm going to put a trap on you. You have to prove yourself. You have to kill this other guy to get your own thing off your head. But
There's so much
Hostel
theater
is just
around
like
it.
it's. I also when I saw Hostel, it was like a double feature at my friend's house. I think we rented them on DVD, and we watched Hellraiser and then we watched Hostel, and I was just like Hellraiser. I was just like, and then we watched
It's
Hostel,
a
and I'm just
drama.
like.
Yeah.
Hellraiser's like it's gory, but it's a family drama around it, and
It
Yeah.
also just has
like,
that
slasher.
80s like silly, yeah.
It has the
feel.
cheese. It has a little bit of that cheese sleaze.
But if anyone likes Hostel, you're free to like
Yeah.
it.
Oh
Go ahead
yeah,
and like
it's
Oh, I
it's
don't like Hostel,
fine.
by the way. I just was
I just don't like it.
a better film by Eli Roth is definitely Cabin Fever, not the remake.
Oh
The
my God,
original one
not
from
the
the
remake.
early 2000s.
Not the remake. Oh my
Oh.
god.
And another segue. Speaking of remakes,
We keep
what are
writing these
some-
segues all over the place.
Oh yeah, no, everybody's gonna get a segue.
Look under
perfect-
your seats.
Oh my god! Woo! Here I go.
Oh,
Anyways,
what are not me forgetting the segue.
Remakes. something-
segues. Okay.
Segue. So what are some horror movie remakes that you feel actually did justice to the original?
The Grudge. The Grudge was actually a good remake because it recontextualized the story instead of just trying to
Yes.
regurgitate it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say
I
The
think that's a
Ring.
good one.
The Ring was a good one for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was also like, The Ring had me terrified to answer my phone. And anytime that there was static on the TV, I was instantly just like, this is it. This is my
We're gonna die
moment.
tonight.
This is my moment. She's coming out of my TV. So The Ring was definitely, and I watched the Ringu, and I was like, oh wow, like, you know, it's definitely a little different, but at the same time, like, I think if you're gonna do a remake, and if you're gonna do like, you know, a shot for shot remake in that like appreciation of like, you know, we definitely want to have like an appreciation for this movie, I can get behind. But if it's just like, sometimes remakes almost seem like a mockery of the original film.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't have the same charm. It doesn't have the same passion that goes into those older horror movies. Like the reason I stand by The Grudge is because it didn't just try to. There were so many remakes of Asian horror in that time, and most of them would just try to literally create the same plot, but it was missing all the cultural influence that it had from its original context. And like it just didn't translate because of that. Like they just try to tell the same story and it just didn't carry the same way. But like when they took The Grudge, it's like they tried to reframe it for an American. Like they told a story using the same like legend, the same framework, but it's a different story. And I think that's what makes that one more successful to me, at least.
The Grudge was one of the first DVDs that we ever had. And the front of The Grudge is just like, you know, the eye with
iconic
the hair.
imagery.
And my sister was sleeping on the couch, and my other sister and I were like, let's scare her. So we got the case really, really close to her face.
No.
And we woke her up. And to this day, I can feel the punch that she like, because she didn't wake up and was just like, ah! She woke up and she was like, "Rah!" and like punched me, and I was just like, ah!
Oh my goodness.
But the imagery in those movies are absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, for remakes for me, I would have to say like I've seen plenty of remakes and none really come to my mind as being like particularly successful. Like I probably enjoyed them, but they weren't like successful like stand on their own just like amazing experience, except for the Evil Dead remake.
Yeah.
I thought that one
That was
was
a good
really
one.
fun because they deviated from the original source material enough where it's a new story, but that it's has plenty of parallels.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just like start to finish an enjoyable experience, and it has like all the things that like check my boxes, which is like it has like an embellishment and a point of view, and it has like a creative or an artistic kind of element to it. And then if we're getting a little bit like obscure with answers, where it's not a remake but like an homage. Cabin in the Woods was so
Oh,
fun,
Yeah.
and it like pays homage to like every horror subgenre in like that exists. And I
Yeah.
actually didn't see that one upon release. I saw that one just like last year, the year before, with Dola and Opa and Chad on just like a little call, and it was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. Because as a
Yeah.
horror fan, it's like, oh, I know that they took this from Hill Have Eyes. Oh my gosh, I know that they took this from like Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Mhm.
I see this from, you know, just XYZ 50-foot woman, all this stuff. Like it's
all
Yeah.
that
so,
elevator
so cool.
scene, the elevator scene. I like you just
Oh.
pick and shoot. You're like, oh my god, that's it. You know,
There's
that's
it's
Yeah.
Gremlins, and like it just has like a reference to every movie.
I can say I love The Haunting and the Wicker Man remakes for the wrong reasons. If you say we're watching The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage, I am 100% on board, but not because I think it's a good movie, but
that's
it
my
is
guilty pleasure movie.
a hilarious time. Same thing with The Haunting. It's horrendous. But do I want to watch him get hit by that fucking pendulum over and over and
In
over
the
again?
fireplace?
You bet your ass I do. Yes. Like sometimes a remake is so bad it's good. Most of the time they're
Yes.
just boring.
Nikki?
The Wicker Man, though, they gave us the best quote in the world: "The beast, not the beast, the beast."
Nikki, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Uh,
Do you have any ideas?
like horror remakes.
Yeah.
Not
Games could count.
Games
horror.
count
Oh,
as well.
we're
This is
talking about
not-
game.
Yeah, this
Oh.
this panel is not limited to just movies. It's also
then-
games.
Well, if
I
we're
would like
talking
to
about
put that out
games,
there.
then I gotta say one of the best remake games probably ever made was Resident Evil 2.
So true.
Oh,
you should
or
use
the
builds.
original Resident Evil remake.
Or the original Resident Evil remake as well. Although I was struggling with Door Opening Simulator, I still haven't finished it. But I think my favorite Resident Evil game that I've played, and I've played most of them now. Other than I haven't played a lot of the tank control ones, but of like the more modern ones, Resident Evil 2 remake is my favorite.
It's a love letter.
It's a
fans
love
of the
letter.
original and to just the series. Like I'm not just the series, the genre.
It's a nice
Yeah.
meeting point where like people can come into the game series and like play it without playing the other ones, and the older fans can play it and really enjoy it too.
And also, it made me fall in love with Leon Kennedy.
So true.
Oh boy.
I'm resisting my soundboard so hard during String Queens Con. I can't help myself. It's too late.
Sometimes it works. Some like the times you've used it have been cute.
I
Yeah,
need
they've
an
been
entire
perfect.
track number dedicated to Leon.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, she does. So there's another question here. I'm going to change the wording just a slight bit because I see that we're kind of getting a little heavily focused on more movies. This is open to every form of horror media as well as like not just movies but books, literature, anything. What is your favorite horror media that by and large people say has flopped, but it's like a guilty pleasure and something that you will love to the grave?
Paranormal Activity.
The first one was seen as good, though.
Okay, yeah, but
But
actually the fifth one.
everything one after that was
No. Paranormal Activity 2 and 3 are amazing movies. We don't talk about 4, and we don't talk about 6. But Paranormal Activity, the marked one, is actually a very fierce film and very well done, one of the best in the franchise. And it was the side one.
I agree. Number 1, 2, and 3, they were really good.
Mhm.
But there's the 2 in the middle where you're like,
Oh, no, mine is the 4 and 6. We don't talk about them. The
yeah,
last,
we don't.
but marked ones was fierce.
And it wasn't that the one that just came out on Paramount Plus?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I heard it was really good. That it kind of like is as good as the first like 1 and 2. So I need to go watch that.
I mean, if we're talking good 1, 2, and 3, I love Silent Hill. I'm obsessed with it.
mhm.
I've always been obsessed with it. Silent Hill 2 is like my favorite game ever. I play it every year. And but yeah, they kind of flop now. I mean, after the fourth one, Konami just said we hate video games. we're not doing video games anymore.
We're making slot machines from now on.
Yeah, and they just sort of
Yeah.
started shoveling it off to whoever will make a Silent Hill game, and it just flopped the entire series. But those originals, I still play them all the time, and I love them.
A game
I'll
that
never stop
flopped-
playing them.
A game that
Okay.
flopped that I still love is Friday the 13th.
Ugh,
Oh,
good.
so
I love it
disappointing.
too. It's still fun with a group of friends.
You just have to have a
yeah.
full lobby. You have to have
Yeah.
a full lobby of patient people.
Yep.
I think about some of the Friday the 13th Stream Queens nights we used to have them. I think one, I just tried to jump on top of a car and I fell through the car and died. What?
I missed the glitch where you throw a knife as Jason and the car goes flying into space.
My movie would probably be Bones with Snoop Dogg.
Oh my god,
It
yes.
is such an amazing
It's
movie.
actually a pretty good movie.
It's so good. It did not. When it hit the box office, people were just, they just weren't ready. They weren't ready for it. And
It has problems, but it's good.
yeah, and the entire cast is POC. There's a couple, but it's got Snoop Dogg. It's got so many like amazing, iconic, like people of color in this film, and it's a horror movie, and like I watched it again the other day, and I was just like, this is actually really good. Like there are some story things that are kind of like, ooh, but like overall, like it checks off every single element, and I just wish more people go watch Bones. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
My favorite horror movie flop, Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
I think that one.
Love Jennifer's Body. Oh, it flopped. It did horrible
Well, Rocky Horror.
because it was mismarketed.
Yeah, Rocky Horror
Oh, that
was
is
a
true.
technical flop, but now it's a cult classic.
Yeah, now Jennifer's Body is being celebrated more, but like back when it came out when I was like in high school, I
Yeah.
watched it because I was like, wait, there's a horror movie with Megan Fox, and it's named after a Hole song. Yes, I'm watching this. And I watched it and I was absolutely obsessed with it.
My other favorite flop is Nikki eating goldfish on Stream Queen Con.
It's the
Yay!
second
Yeah.
time today. I ate goldfish on the comedy panel earlier too.
She's done it before. It's comedy, it's horror, it's life, it's love.
A movie that I want to mention, and I'm gonna say it real quick, it's like an anthology series. It's called Tales from the Hood. It is I thought it was very interesting. It is a different tales told by a mortician, and it's all black led stories and how they experience the world through different horror medias. It's deals with very like serious topics that in the 90s it's kind of like, oh, this is like
There were
to this
important
day it's
issues.
still they were still coming out as
Yeah.
being issues and being publicized. I highly recommend everybody to watch it. I'm gonna plug Shudder. Get a Shudder account. Film noir or horror noir. Watch it. Highly
good.
recommend.
Isn't Samuel L.
I-
Jackson the guy, the
Yes.
mortician? Which is so
Yes.
iconic. It's Samuel L. Jackson.
So
Yes.
Oh, dear. You're
I wanted to just like I saw Odd Child mention that actually Tales from the Hood in the chat, and I was like, oh, because I saw that when I was like, I think I was in the fourth grade or something like that, because my brother rented it on VHS, and it terrified me because I was like at that younger age where I wasn't desensitized quite yet. But I remember it so vividly, like how at the very end, I'm gonna spoil. No, I won't spoil it. Just the very, very end is like ingrained in my mind because it's just like it's just a shocker.
it was
And I
definitely-
just thought that it was so I don't know, like as a little kid it was different, but I didn't realize because I didn't know anything about the world as a little child that it was like as
Mhm.
transgressive as it was.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so we are getting close to running out of time, so we're gonna speed run a few more questions. So we're gonna try and keep it a little short and sweet this time. So a question that I have here is from Rothy. It's gonna be tag yourself in Courage the Cowardly Dog. Who would you be? We're gonna start. We'll start. Well, actually, dear, we'll start with you, and we'll go down the line.
The Lady of the Black Water, because my hair is purple tonight.
Oh, iconic character, Ladasha.
I'd be the cat.
Cat.
Cats.
Motel.
yeah.
Cat,
Oh, that
yeah,
no,
let's
not that episode. I'm arachnophobic.
Oh,
Whatever.
Cats Motel was a
They
lot.
traumatized me as a child. I was scared of baths because they came out of the faucet. I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah.
Either that or the creature outside the window with the scraggly hair.
Oh,
Yes.
Return the Slab.
Yeah, that would be
Ramsey.
me.
Ramsey.
I couldn't
Oh.
remember the name, but that would be me.
I love the little alien duck that gets like fried at the end of its first
Yes.
episode and then
Yes.
comes back as like a chicken or like a fry like a cooked
Mhm,
duck.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
That's gonna be a cursed makeup, Nikki. Make
Oh!
it happen.
Eve.
Muriel.
Oh,
I was like, you just bad.
and then Harming.
I'm the gangster foot fungus.
Not
Oh,
the
we're gonna-
gangster.
We're gonna give
Oh, wait,
the old lady the squeeze. See, we're gonna give her the
Oh,
squeeze.
My God.
Not the squeeze.
And on that note, thanks for coming to the panel.
Yeah, honestly. If I had to be one, I would pick one of the Star Makers, the little squid.
Oh, get out of here!
Oh, I love that. Was my favorite episode.
Not the touching, heartfelt episode that made everybody cry.
Yes, because I cried so much.
I'm talking about killer foot fungus.
I also
Oh.
want to be the sea serpent that sings opera.
Okay, yes.
The one that sings
Iconic.
Carmen.
Oh, the computer.
Mhm.
It was also terrifying.
Oh, the computer.
The computer.
So
The
sassy.
computer's its
Oh,
own character.
never mind.
Such a bitch.
I'm the computer.
The computer's a
Fuck that.
bitch.
Yeah, actually, I identify as the computer.
Alrighty. We're gonna quickly speed run this one last question. Speed run it, and then we gotta sign off. What is a VR horror game you'd recommend, or just a horror game in general you'd recommend?
I was gonna say
Like-
VR. Oh, I'm not rich enough for that.
We're gonna start with Ladasha and work our way down.
Dead by Daylight.
Shirt my survivor, please.
I would do any of the games by a independent creator, Amika Games.
Mhm.
They did a lot of games called Find Yourself. They just did Summer of '58.
They have
I
those
love-
in VR.
No, it's just normal.
it's just-
Oh,
game.
okay.
It's games in general.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
love
okay,
if it was in
okay.
VR, but
Okay.
I definitely recommend checking out Amika Games. They are amazing. Jump scares are chef's kiss. Love them.
Alrighty. Perfect. Eve.
Which one scared me the most that I just played?
Mortuary's assistant.
I mean, so the only thing with that one is that you have to like the jump scares you have to look for, and they're there, but you have to like be like readily present. Like you have to be present in the moment to see them. But I will say, and I'm excited, and I hope that they make more. Poppy's Playtime.
So good.
Mm.
Although like there was only really one big moment of like anxiety and stress. That moment I think they did so well that it got me to be like, oh, I want to play another one from them, and I hope it has more. So Poppy's Playtime. It's only like $5 on Steam.
Worth it.
Yeah. Dear.
If we're talking about VR, I would 100% hands down recommend Alien Isolation with fan mods, which make it into a VR game.
Ooh.
It will just blow your mind. I haven't played it, but just that game is so good. I can only imagine how good it is in VR. If we're plugging a horror game that you should go play if you haven't played it yet, anything by Puppet Combo. Puppet Combo is one of my favorites ever. They made Murder House, Babysitter Bloodbath,
Where's my
Power
pizza
Drill
lunch?
Massacre, The Glass
just bought all
Staircase,
those.
Stay Out of the House is their upcoming game, and I'm part of their Patreon, like I'm a subscriber, and I've played several of their preliminary demo versions. And they're just like mind blowing, so cool, such an awesome perspective. 80s inspired VHS, just PS1, like it's this interesting mix of pulling different references, and it's just so cool, so innovative, and so shocking. Puppet
Where's
Combo.
my pizza lunch?
Yeah.
Where's my fucking pizza lunch?
Nikki?
I guess of all the horror games I played so far, and it has been it's not been a ton, but it's because it's this year, so really started my like journey into horror games. But my favorite one to date is still Alien Isolation. I highly recommend that.
Such a good one.
That's so
It is
good.
such a good game. If you are not a horror gamer, that's such a good game to start with. That or Resident Evil 7 are both fantastic, like scary games. If you
Resident
are, like,
Evil
into scary
7.
games.
Nikki told me to play that one, and I did, and I was like, oh my god, I actually really like this.
Yeah. No, both fantastic games. Especially if you love the Alien franchise. That game is such a love letter to the first Alien movie. And when I recommend people to play that game, I'm like, you should watch the first Alien movie before you play that game because it's so important to really connecting with it.
Yeah.
You fucking spilled.
Yeah.
Queen Nikki, Dr. Mirage.
Harming?
So, I mean, I already gushed about Silent Hill enough. That's a classic
That's
everybody
true.
knows about. But along the same lines as Deer with Puppet Combo, there's another indie creator called Kitty Horror Show.
Mm-hmm.
She makes these really abstract mini horror games that are terrifying. Absolutely 100% recommend them. They will chill you and you won't know why. They're very weird. And also, I mean, if you're looking for like fun and like it's like playful but still kind of scary, playing Phasmophobia with a friend or two,
Yeah.
like it still is fun to me after all this time. It's so simple, but you get that lovely like thrill of like that time where you would sit in the dark with your tape recorder and pretend to be a ghost hunter and nothing would happen. But like in this game, stuff actually happens.
Yeah.
And
So
The new
Phasmophobia
update's
is actually
VR.
And
like
yeah,
I just think it's so fun.
like Ladasha said, that is a VR game too.
Yeah.
It is VR too, yeah.
Ooh.
And the games, well, I'm gonna say 3 because they're all kind of in the same vein. I would recommend Mad Father, Corpse Party, and Misao. They are all RPG Maker games on Steam that have amazing stories. They are old, but man, they are absolutely beautifully done. They are in the old style, like Pokemon pixel art style, but man, they are great. They're super great, lovely story, and they have very good scares in them. And yes, so everybody, thank you so much for coming out to the panel tonight. We're gonna go ahead and run down through everybody's names. Thank you all so much for being here. We're gonna go ahead and start at the very top again with Ladasha. If you could go ahead and reintroduce yourself and then plug any social medias on where we can find you.
Yes. Hi, I'm Ms. Ladasha. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Ms_Ladasha. And we also stream at twitch.tv, Ms_Ladasha. Come join the Baddie Brigade. Hit that follow button and let's play some scary, spoopy stuff.
Beautiful. Eve?
First I would want to say, because I saw that there was a question in chat about my makeup today, I have a eye infection and I have to wear a eye patch, but I didn't want to just like wear an eye patch, so I made it like horror-esque. So that's why I'm
Sometimes
wearing
there
an eye
are
patch.
horrors of drag.
Yeah, and it's eye infections.
Sometimes they're just whores of drag.
But my name is Evil Queen. I'm the prettiest bitch you've ever seen. You can find me at Evil Queen on all social medias. I stream on Twitch every Sundays. And I would love to see you all there.
All right. Thank you so much, Eve. Dear?
My name is Dear. Let's Play What You Fear. I love horror. If you've loved this panel, I play horror games almost every day, but sometimes a little bit of Animal Crossing too. But I love horror. Follow me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/dear. I stream 5 days a week, so come and take a look.
Beautiful. Nikki?
Hi, my name is Queen Nikki Mirage. I am a variety streamer, but I do stream primarily survival horror or just a lot of horror games. So I'm like a horror variety streamer now. I once in a box I set out to be on Twitch, but it's the box I'm in now, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I stream Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. 2 nights a week are in drag for sure. 1 night is usually out of drag. But you can catch me over on twitch.tv/Queen Nikki Mirage. I am also Queen Nikki Mirage on Instagram, TikTok. You should follow me on TikTok, YouTube, and I am Nikki Mirage live on Twitter and PayPal. Send me money. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
Hip-hop.
And Harming?
Hi. Yeah, I'm Prince Harming. You'll find me right here on Twitch. I stream 5 days a week. I also play a lot of horror games. I'm always willing to talk about horror. Not just willing, I love talking about horror all the time. So if you love those kinds of things, come stop by my channel. But I am going to be playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 for a while, so you're just going to have to deal with that. But yeah, that's me.
Alrighty. Perfect. And finally, my name is Miss Diana Hole. I am a drag content creator here on Twitch. I'm the hole of the town, the one your mother warned you about. And you can find me on all social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Miss Diana Hole. And thank you all so much for coming out to the horror panel tonight, Scream Queers. Woo! So that's going to go ahead and wrap